Welcome, GCSE Technology Integration YouTubers. In this video, Shotcut for Students, video number 4, we're going to create a video timeline and place items from the playlist onto the timeline. Hopefully you remember in video number 3, we took files from a folder on the desktop and copied those into the playlist within Shotcut. If you have not watched the video that covers the process of how to get items into the playlist within Shotcut, please watch that before proceeding with this video. You can see that I have 4 files in Shotcut from which to create my movie. One of those is an audio file, and we will cover that in a subsequent video. So I have the picture of the desert, the picture of the lighthouse, and the wildlife movie, all of which need to be placed onto a video timeline. First, obviously though, I need to create a video timeline. In order to do that, I will navigate down to the timeline option, and I will click the 3 lines. This is also known as the hamburger. It's supposed to represent the bun and the patty in the middle. So I will click the hamburger, and I will select Add Video Track. Notice it says V1 right here for Video 1, and I will have the ability to place items onto this track on the timeline. Please be aware on the timeline you can zoom out or you can zoom in. Obviously right now nothing is there. There are other options on the timeline that we will explore in the editing video, which will come next. There are multiple ways to get your items from the playlist onto the timeline. The simplest is to move your mouse to the item you want, left click, drag, hold down, and then release when you get to the timeline. Once you release, the item will be placed exactly where you dropped it. Notice that does create some dead space right here. We will cover that in the editing portion, which is the next video. The other option is you can double click on an item in the playlist, and I can choose this down arrow option right here, which will place the item into the timeline exactly where this white bar is. Notice that in this case that did not add any space because I was adding it immediately after the last item that I added. I have one more item to place into the timeline, and that is the wildlife movie. Please be aware it may play, so you may hear some background sound. I'm going to left click and drag and then drop this one down on the timeline. And again, that leaves a gap. As you start to work more with Shotcut, you'll develop a personal preference for if you prefer not to have a gap between your video clips and your pictures, or if you prefer to have that. Please be aware also, you can drop a clip into the timeline more than one time. So if you want a picture to appear more than once, all you have to do is drag that picture down a second time and drop it where you want it to appear the second time. Of course, it is always important to save. We covered this in the last video. Control S or File and Save. Once you've placed the items in the timeline in the order that you want them, so this will be my first item, second item, third item, fourth item, I need to save. So that's File and Save. Hopefully that will show you how to take items from the playlist. Items being, in this case, pictures or video. We will worry about sound later on. Place them in the timeline and prepare them for editing.